Hey everyone, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another video. Um, I guess, you've read the title of this one, and I want to start off by saying to folks who aren't regular viewers or maybe are regular viewers or forgotten, don't worry, nothing bad's going on. I still have a job. I'm engaged in what I would call a fairly casual job hunt. As in, what does that mean? That means I have the luxury of having a job right now that I don't completely hate, right? So I can very casually look for a job, right? So obviously I had some experiences that kind of inspired me to speak about this topic. So let's go ahead and kind of go into these kind of I guess chronological order, and it'll be a little bit of negativity, but nothing extreme, right? Um, Probably the thing that bugged me the most is the fact that, I've talked about this in multiple videos, so I'm just going to very briefly talk about it. I came this close to getting my dream job at a bank, right? Not that I necessarily wanted to work for this bank, it was more just the job itself that would have been absolutely amazing. So, um, basically, I was told last year, they're like, hey, we're not going to fill this job for the rest of 2020. I was like, okay, that's fine. I decided to reach out to them again, the last week of January. So I did it on January 26th, which was a Tuesday. And here we are I'm recording this on February 18th. And I've heard nothing. So I'm guessing I'm never going to hear anything. Which kind of pisses me off because I mean, obviously it's a dead issue, and I'm not going to keep harassing them. I only reached out once, and if they don't respond, I'm not going to just keep going at them. I think the reason it pisses me off so much is they strung me along for, I think beginning to end, the process was nearly, it was maybe slightly over 2 months, maybe close to 3 months. I don't know. I just know it was a really long process. And, I said just a real quick, hey, do you guys know what's going on? And I don't even get a generic like, sorry, we don't know, just literally ignored. And I'll survive, obviously, but to me, it's kind of bullshit, right? But that's neither here nor there. Another thing that I find ridiculous is there's an organization around here that rhymes with Schmedge. They are a what the fuck are they? Like some sort of like medical research place, right? And so I had a phone interview with them, I don't know, maybe some years ago, right? Um, and basically what happened was, I don't know, something didn't work out. There was some reason I couldn't do an in-person interview there, and it's almost like I've been blacklisted by this organization since then. I can't remember what happened, but something prevented me from being able to go to an in-person interview with them. Maybe I got a different job right before that. I really don't know. But it's like I've been blacklisted the system because there have been a bunch of jobs that they've posted over the years that I have been more than qualified for, right? And what's funny is they just recently posted basically what I would call a cattle call for IT professionals. They put this thing up like, hey, we're going to have this virtual hiring event on March 10th, right? So I was like, well, fuck it. I can just, you know, get with these guys and see what's going on, see if I can get in front of people, the right people who might, be interested in talking to me further, right? And I, sent my information over two different ways because one way is you could email some schmuck there, and I sent over this stupid, little letter saying, "Oh, I think your organization's great, and I'd love to join the team." Yeah, I'm fucking right, some bullshit, right? And I also just did it via the normal. And I waited a day or so to get a response from the person I emailed. Didn't get a response that way. And then they just had this thing on their website you could use, so I tried that as well. And I did that, I don't know, a few days ago, no response. And I am more than qualified for these positions that they have listed on their site, right? It's just like, I know I could do these jobs like with my eyes closed. Not quite, but you know what I mean. And just nothing. And I don't know, I find it rather frustrating. So, of course, I've made it my journey in life to anytime I see a job posted for this company that I'm qualified for, I'm going to apply for just to spite them at this point. Not necessarily because I want to work there. It's just more just I can waste somebody's time, right? Because it takes almost no time to apply for these jobs. So there's that. And then thirdly, oh boy, I had another interview actually yesterday with this company, a different one than the ones I've been talking about, obviously. And what was interesting about this particular interview, it was my first actual in-person interview that I had in more than a year. I was shocked that they wanted me to show up for an in-person interview, but I did it. I was like, screw it, why not, right? So I show up there, and well, I guess I'll go with a little more background. My first interview, of course, was with like an HR person, right? And we're kind of running through the questions. She's asking me certain questions and all that. And I get the feeling just from our conversation that this job is more entry level than what I'm looking for. As in, I don't think the money's going to be there, right? But she did ask me, she said, what kind of salary range are you looking for? And I told her, I said, at the low end, kind of positions I've been looking at is around 60,000 a year. But at the really high end, maybe 90 or 95,000 a year. I said, I know that's a big range, but that's just kind of what I've been looking at. Of course, it all depends on the organization and the position. Of course, I peppered it with all that bullshit that you're supposed to throw in, right? And so I did give her dollar amounts because she asked, and then based on how the phone interview was going, I was thinking to myself, this may or may not go somewhere. I was surprised that right at she didn't even have to email me back. At the end of the phone interview, she's like, hey, I'd really love to have you come in for an in-person interview. I'm seeing myself, okay, because it wasn't going that great. But I'm like, all right, that's fine, And then I guess some of my answers probably impressed her because I do know a lot about technology and I do know a lot about interacting with users, we'll call it. So I guess that was impressive enough in and of itself. So I was like, sure, fine. And then I go there yesterday, and I met with I guess one of the hiring managers, right? And the guy was pretty nice enough, but he was not the best at interviewing, right? He was just he just had the sheet of questions in front of him, asking me some really kind of standard and generic interview questions. And some of the technology questions he asked me, for someone of my experience level, I know I shouldn't come across this way, but I felt almost like, come on, you really think I don't know that? I mean, that's obviously not what I said. I answered every single one of his questions with enthusiasm and accuracy, of course. That's what you always want to be as professional as humanly possible in a situation like that. You never want to ever come across as condescending or arrogant because that will not go well for you if you do that. So always, regardless of what you think of the question, answer it. Because one of the things he asked me, he's like, oh, well, what would you do if someone's laptop couldn't turn on? I'm thinking to myself, I've got 17 years of experience. You really think I've never dealt with a laptop that can't turn on before? I just gave him the standard, well, that's not what I said. It's not remotely what I said. I said, yeah, sure. This is literally how I answered. I was like, yeah, sure. That's one I can answer for you. What I would do is I would grab a known good laptop that turns on. The first thing that I would do is I would plug the, known good laptop into the charger on the, of the quote not working laptop, see if that worked. I of course remove the batteries, see if that did anything, and basically I just went through some troubleshooting steps real basic stuff that anybody who's worked in IT for more than 5 minutes should know the answer to. And there, excuse me, and there were kind of several of those extremely, man. Well, I guess I'm not as professional in my YouTube videos. That's why this is more fun and closer to quote my true self than anything I do at work. But I was just like, and there were several of those types of real basic questions. So I was thinking to myself, is this really going to be a role for me? Because this is not going to be remotely challenging for me. I could, do any of this stuff extremely easily. And one thing that really kind of sealed it for me during the interview was, I asked him because, at the end, he said, "Do you have any questions for me?" And of course, one good thing to always ask your interviewers, what do you like the most about working here? And what do you like the least about working here? It's a question I like to throw out. Feel free to steal that for your own interviews. And he said what he really likes about working there is the culture and the people and yada, yada, yada. He says that's the best part. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's incredibly important. No doubt that is a big deal, right? But he said the thing that he likes the least is he's like, yeah, I know working here, I could probably make 10 or 15% somewhere else very easily. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, this is an entry-level job, and it seems like even for the non-entry level jobs, they pay below the local market rates. Thinking to myself, I probably just completely wasted my time doing this, but whatever. I didn't really show any negativity because, of course, you're not going to do that in a job interview situation. Now, as far as how do I feel that it went, I felt it went okay or average. I would be fairly surprised if they wanted me to move on to the next part of the process. But I've been surprised before. Like, I'm not writing this off entirely like it's totally dead. Because you never know until you kind of get to the finish line. That's the shitty thing about this kind of stuff. If they had just put a goddamn salary range in the job ad, I would have known whether I should have applied for the job or not. Because honestly, when I was looking at the ad, it wasn't what I would call super vague, but it wasn't as clear as some other ads that I've seen, right? It seems like it might be a good fit, but obviously going through the interview, I'm thinking to myself more and more, maybe this isn't a great fit, whether they're even interested in me or not, who knows? And if they are, will they pay enough? Who knows? I have my doubts. I very much doubt I will be working at this company, but anything is possible. I could be wrong. That's basically it. I just wanted to complain a bit, just talk about some of the bullshit you go through during this process. And even though I didn't particularly I don't think I gained any interviewing skills from this interview at all because it wasn't that great of an interview. I did still at least learn a bit more about the position, and that it's probably not for me, but we'll see. Anyway, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for listening to me complain. As always, live long and prosper. Keep on rocking. I'll see you guys in the next one.